great to meet you, brother.
Great to meet you also, man. Great to meet you also.
Awesome. So we're gonna do this podcast. We're gonna do it just off the cuff. I think it's the best inspiration is just talking about stuff. So that's the way we're gonna go with it. If that's all
How
right.
long how long you been doing this?
Um, I've managed podcasts for a couple years, and just recently started one of God Centered about recovery and stuff like that. Just recently,
Wow.
but I did one with my wife for a couple years about relationships and stuff. So
Mm,
I
that's good.
I'm a fan of podcasting. I just think it's a great avenue to reach people and stuff. So
I'm totally new to it. I've heard of the term. Of course, you hear it and you listen to people, but actually doing it and investing the time and trying to figure it out, navigating through that, I have not attempted to do that.
Uh, awesome, brother. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Walter Hagens. From born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I actually reside in Houston, Texas now. My family and I, we moved here to be closer to my in-laws to kind of help them plan a church.
Uh-huh.
So that's what kind of brought us here. But now I'm a diehard Ravens fan, Oriole fan.
Nice, nice.
No, I'm just humbly walking before the Lord, man. Just really trying to understand more, get away from superficial North American Christianity to really just more biblical, to see what the Lord says about how I love my wife, how do I treat my family, what
Mhm.
He says success is, right?
That's good.
Um, and kind of go from there. So,
That's awesome. I was raised in multiple different denominations and grew up with a lot of different stuff, but it seems like over the past years, it's kind of a stripping down and then reading the word for myself and just kind of, getting the revelation in a new path. And it's very holistic.
right.
It's centered around being a better man. Jesus' words are, they're challenging. They are challenging. And
That's
so
true.
been
So,
consuming that, involved in around family life and business and just this holistic life that was far different than what I experienced when I was growing up.
yes, sir. I totally agree. Like
Yeah.
you said, his words are tough. I mean, this sanctification process is a process.
Hmm.
I can believe instantaneously that I've accepted salvation, so I'm grafted with that grace. But walking and out getting my flesh to realize we're new is different. Like
uh,
so,
yeah. For me, it's a whole mind renewal thing. I just kind
right.
of programmed and trained in, all of, these different ways. My mom, for example, was Catholic.
Oh
And
wow.
my grandma was a Nazarene, and she put me in Nazarene church. And so it's just kind of weeding through, all these different things, coming to my own conclusion. But it's the mind renewal of what you're talking about, because there's
I
all these
agree.
patterns that we have.
And that's kind of how there's an event that I have the privilege of doing next month called Porn and Pancakes.
Yes.
And it's dealing with the renewal of, you don't have to be entrapped in that. Will it be tough transition? Yes. Will you have
Yeah.
to put things in, like there's certain movies I don't watch anymore, right? There's things because my walk with the Lord is much more important than my happiness,
Mm,
right? I'm not
yeah.
missing out on anything, but if I know I can't watch these, I will not watch these already movies. Or if it's one me and my wife are going to see it together,
Right.
so she sees me turn my eyes and turn my head and things like that because I know what can get trapped up in here that I got to deal
Yeah.
with once this movie is gone, right?
Yeah.
So it's been, but I can honestly say, brother, it's Tim. It's been the response has been disheartening. Um, you talk to different leaders and pastors. It's like, oh, that's not an issue here. We're good. I'm like, brother, one out of
Wow.
every four men struggle
Wow.
with this. This is not a, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? This is not a simple thing. I
Yeah.
said, well, I disagree. Now you might not be. I said, I disagree respectfully. Disagree. Um, but brothers need to be. We want people to be better leaders in their homes, in their communities, in their churches. So
Right.
me and my wife are starting a nonprofit called the Marital Journey, and that's the motto is marriage is a journey. Let's take it together, right? We'll walk
Yeah.
with this. We don't have all the perfect answers. We're coming on 18 years. By God's grace, we're still together, right? Um, But through that segue, that's kind of what's prompted the Porn and Pancake. There's events for men, right?
Right.
How to be a better man, how to be whole. A lot of times
Yeah.
we're
Mhm.
leading while bleeding, right? We're leading because we have these responsibilities. We got to do them. I mean, I had to provide. I had to do this. This is a part of my role, but I'm bleeding from this. My dad wasn't there,
Mhm.
or I saw a dysfunctional view of what fatherhood is.
Yeah.
Be a man. Sleep around many women you can. That's what men do, and you kind of like.
Right.
But now that I'm can't truly enjoy the intimacy of my wife alone, something's wrong. Like something's
Right.
wrong with that. So yeah, that's kind of what we got coming up December 7th, and I'm trying to stay encouraged. To be honest, and
Yeah.
like Lord, I believe you said it. I believe you said do this, and I'm excited because there are some brothers reached out that's like, thank you so much, man. So
Yeah.
we're excited. We're excited.
That's powerful. I man, let's just go with this subject if you don't mind, brother.
Yes, sir.
So you said 1 out of 4 men struggle, huh?
Yes, sir. One
One
out
out of
of
four men.
struggle men struggle with. I'm pull my little phone up real quick because on the flyer it had some
Yeah.
stats on it. But
While you do that, I'm just going to share, a personal struggle with the
yes, sir.
listeners. It's been about 3 years, porn free. It
Amen.
wasn't always my
Amen.
mindset. I was a Christian and I was going to church and doing those, going through the motions and stuff like that. But secretly struggled like a lot of men do. You said
Right.
1 in 4. 1 in 4 of us, got this struggle, and I think we got this struggle because we know the expectations of our Lord, right? And we know what real intimacy is. We know what
Right.
powerful love and connection and relationship is, and so it cuts us to the core, right? And so we
Right.
have all this guilt and all this frustration, all this shame, involved with that, which of course only spirals, and then it keeps us silent also
Right.
because we're not willing to say, "Hey, brother, I'm struggling with this," and it's kind of taboo. Like, could you imagine, like, in a service, like saying that, like a pin would drop, like, brother said he's struggling with porn. I don't know.
Right.
uh,
And all the silent blinks. Me too.
like
The
what?
silent blinks. Right.
Yeah.
But you think about it. I mean, it says 43% of pornography is morally accepted. It's morally accepted. 43%, almost half. People like it's okay. It's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So now you again through our culture, through Christianity, we realize we're going against the grain. Period. Right?
Hmm.
We're going against the grain. And since I live in Houston, I realized Houston, one of the top 10 cities for human sex trafficking.
Mm,
You think that's not by design? I mean, the number one city is our nation's capital, so that's a whole nother conversation, right? It makes
wow.
sense, right? The nation's capital, DC, is the top place for human sex trafficking. But that's why all our government official stuff is set in place too, right?
Right.
So
Right. Big
that's
business.
a big business. United States is top consumer of illegal child pornography now. So it's just this. The numbers don't lie,
Hmm.
and so we want to be whole. Like you said, we want to be whole. Like Lord,
Yeah.
fix this. I'm feeding something. I'm feeding something with this,
Yeah.
and I am to enjoy my wife, but she's not my slut. Right?
Right.
I am to
Right. That's
enjoy I am to
powerful. Hmm.
enjoy her, but I'm not to trick her out because of all this other filter I put in my mind. So two things are gonna happen. She's gonna say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, where did this come from?" Like, wait,
Hmm. Where'd you get
or
that
this
from? Right.
right? Or the
Hmm.
second thing is you won't dare bring it to your wife because you love your wife, but I'm gonna have to find
It's gonna
somebody
do something
else
else. Yeah. Hmm.
to get this out, right? And sometimes it's not outside of the household when you're dealing with molestation. So it's so many pieces that ties into this, man.
Yeah.
The lust of this flesh.
Yeah. I know for me personally, very destructive,
Mm,
and in very minor ways. And this is why I think that we don't notice this is that, so for example, I'm consuming pornography and I'm doing it, who knows, 3, 4 times a week, right?
right,
And intimacy with my wife is 1 time a week, and it's not very intimate,
right, right.
right? Because I'm consuming all this other stuff, and
Exactly.
then I'll be lucky if it's maybe twice a month, to have an
Right.
intimate
You're right.
encounter that's not intimate. Um, and I'm having all these experiences, by myself,
Right.
and the intimacy is out the window, and I'm settling for cheap substitute.
Wow.
You know what I mean, brother?
Yeah, I understand. That's why I
Yeah.
almost lost my wife.
Right.
I had to act it out. And it wasn't with one woman. It had to be multiple,
Hmm.
right? And trying to hide this and because of the shame, right?
Right.
Like
Hmm.
I know it's not right, but God, I can't stop. And to the point was like, Father, you got to expose me because I'm not strong enough to stop.
Hmm.
And that damaged my wife. Now my wife is was struggling with, am I not good enough? What's wrong with me? So all her insecurities are flaring up now. Um, and yeah, and I almost lost my family to it, brother. And I again, whatever you feed's gonna grow.
Hmm.
So we definitely had to put parameters in place. Like, I work in corporate America. I train. I have all my team is females,
Hmm.
all my team. So I always have to be cautious. I don't have one-on-one conversations with closed doors with them. I don't. There's some things I don't try not to get on the elevator. They don't ride in my car.
Right.
It's just things I put in place for me because I know me. I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything. I'm not saying they flirting. I'm not putting any ownership on them. I'm putting the ownership on me. Lord,
Right.
I want to keep my mind, let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart
Be
be
acceptable.
acceptable to
Hmm.
you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
that's where I want to be.
Right.
I don't. That's what I want to be, man. So I'm not. I don't need to call you man, Tim. I'm sorry. It feels so
Right.
comfortable.
Right.
But
I'm hearing you,
that's where I
brother.
want to be, brother. That's
Hmm.
where I want to be, and I want to see other brothers free. I mean, to totally lead their families and, like I said, leading their churches, leading their communities.
That's awesome. So, what do you think is the steps out? You know what I mean? I know I looked at my experience and, I destroyed my marriage. So there
Wow.
wasn't anything to fix, but, I took that experience and got whole and got my mindset straight and, relationship connection back with God
Amen.
and knew every single falter. I'm like, that's not coming in my marriage. That's not coming. You know what I
Right.
mean? And let's go on down the line. Unfortunately, I had to learn by hard knocks, which is a
Right.
shame. But how do we get out? How do we get out, brother?
I mean, I guess any kind of battle, you got to know your enemy.
Uh huh.
Know your enemy, man. And sometimes your enemy is the enemy, right? The inner me is my enemy. When I look in that mirror, sometimes it's me.
Yeah.
And the same thing, we got to stop pouring in what's right. We have to surround ourselves with brothers, sisters, keep us accountable. I don't need you to be my friend. I need you to be accountable to my brother. To
Hmm.
tell me when I'm right. Tell me when I'm wrong. Right?
Yeah.
If you love me, you will correct me. We're gonna need around, especially men. We're gonna need around a bunch of yes men. We don't need that. We don't need that. But know your enemy. Realize, go through Book of James. Realize every man is led away by the lust of the flesh. So as you go to the Lord, just and go back to discipleship and devotion. So we a lot of times we are reactive. I'm in trouble. I need you, Lord.
Hmm.
Versus proactive. Lord, let me spend some time with you every day. Every day, I'm not a wordsmith. I don't know all the words, Lord, but I do know I need you. So help
Yeah.
me learn how to study. And so we do. So that's the first thing I said. Know your enemy. Know your enemy, because sometimes it's the enemy, and sometimes it's the inner me.
Hmm. That is so good. I
Um,
never heard that before, brother, but that's gonna
man.
stick.
And then we just gotta, like you said earlier, we gotta start renewing our mind.
Yeah.
Just because this might not be your vice, but you lie. In big corporate America, you in sales, but you steal.
Hmm.
God's not pleased with none of that.
No. Right.
So, even as we're learning through this walk, sometimes there might be some jobs you can't take. If you know where you are, you're fragile in your marriage and things of nature. That could be a traveling, whatever that role calls for, you being away from your family. You have to put that before Lord. Lord, my family, my walk with you is above everything else. You will take care of this family
Yeah.
because it's your family. You just give me some. I manage what you give me. I don't own any of this mess. I
Right.
only manage what you give me. So I don't think this job, okay, honey, will pay us 20, 30, 40, $50,000 more, but is it worth our marriage and the sanity of our children?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not worth it. So I guess it's a long answer to a short question.
Yeah.